Hello everyone and welcome. We are back at the Hampton Bends here in Virginia, and I'm holding up this giant pretty scarf. It is acrylic and it is some kind of St. Martin's, which is a set of islands, like a cruise island type deal. I put that back up to the side. You can see I've tried really hard to push everything over so that way I can get down to the bottom of the bin. And unfortunately, we are going to be really zoomed in for the entirety of this video because I made a mistake and accidentally filmed this in vertical. So sorry for that. Hopefully Editing Bob is showing you what this would look like if I wasn't super zoomed in, just so you can give an appreciation. If you felt like I should have just left the footage as it was and you guys would have ignored the bars on the sides, you can leave that comment down below. So as far as last week's video, I did see a few of you were interested in seeing me dig through the book bins. Unfortunately, the book bins are in the very center of this outlet, and that means it would be a lot easier to see me filming. So I am trying to stay on the DL. And for that reason, it'll just take a while for me to figure out how I could film going through the books. This is an anime or a manga, whichever one you decided to partake in. This is Demon Slayer. I did watch this entire thing. I'm only halfway through the movie. I got, to be honest, bored halfway through the movie, which is saying something considering it takes place on a train and I love trains. But because of the fact that it is anime and it is a size large and it is the bins or medium, I don't remember, that went into my cart. That was an Eddie Bauer piece, but it had significant pilling. This is a Nike piece, but somebody got very scissor happy with that piece, so that also went to the side. I mean, if you had a super fashionable, buy-sell trade, that might have been something for you. This actually was Lark and Row, and I would have picked that up after I looked it up if it wasn't for the fact that that too was horribly pilled. Once I actually looked it up and looked at the garment, it didn't have any holes in it, didn't have any stains, but it was horribly pilled. This is a pair of Madewells, and it's a pair of skinny Madewells, and it is a pair of small, short inseam skinny Madewells. And that ended up going in my cart because after I looked it up, I was like, you know what? It probably doesn't even weigh a pound, and this is going to be one of the few times I'm ever going to find Madewell at the bins. I'm just going to go ahead and go for it and see what happens. So, I mean, there are people, I still see people wearing skinnies out, not as many. I definitely do see a lot of light wash, straight leg or baggy leg pants. I actually do see more straight leg and wide leg than I see flare, which I think is interesting considering how hyped up flare has been talked about on the internet. This is me showing you how dirty my hands are. I do actually dig through, they're just super dirty. I do actually dig through the books before I go over to the clothes. I've talked about this before, and yes, I will at some point figure out how to do that for you guys, for those of you that are interested. I thought about doing it today, actually, but because of how I do the books, I actually had a lot of people talk to me today, which was really nice. Most of them were just thanking me for organizing the books. And some of y'all are like, why are you doing that? And I've talked about on this channel before how one of the reasons why I really love being a reseller, and one of the reasons why I love especially being a bookseller and primarily sourcing books from the bins here, is the sustainability. Books have been a really big part of my life, my entire life. And this is Doonesbury, I think Doonesbury, which is a cartoon that was popularized in the 70s, 60s and 70s for their Vietnam, anti-Vietnam rhetoric, I think. I'm not sure. It was one I always skipped when I was a child because I didn't really care. But that's what that shirt was from, but it was stained, so I left it behind. And that is because when I do the books, I organize the books in a way so that way it is easier to see all the titles. I've talked about it on Instagram before, how most of the time when I do that, somebody always comes back after me and just tears them up. Especially there's a couple of Dude Bro FBA sellers that do it, and it gets to me because they always say like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm so glad they started doing that when really it's me. And then they just tear it apart. So I understand why the actual Goodwill employees don't do it if that's the result. But I do it because I want more people to buy more of these books so they don't end up in the landfill. And I actually had several people this day tell me thank you for doing that. Which was sweet of them. They're like, you should get all your books for free. And that's a lovely sentiment, but really I'm doing it for selfish reasons. It makes sure that I don't miss any books. I don't leave any books behind that are valuable. And it also makes it so more people will hopefully buy books, because as I've mentioned before, normally after they see me leave the books, they will pull the books into the back. And, that's the last hurrah for the books, and they just end up in the landfill. So that's honestly why I do it. I don't want them to. I would save all the books if I could, but I literally already have too many books in my house. This is a shawl. It is a Morona shawl. I've bought and sold several of those already this year, but I decided to leave that one behind because it was just an acrylic shawl, and it was not a reversible one. So I left that one behind. Got some polos. You can see how high the clothes were stacked this day, which makes it look like there was so much stuff here, and it wasn't. That is because the reason why I picked this bin out of all of the other bins here is because this is the bin that looked like it had the most clothes. It was a very heavy blanket and sheets and towel day today, and don't get me wrong, you guys have seen me pull out several amazing quilts, and some of them I have already listed and they have sold for, over $50. But that was not the case. It was a lot of, regular basics, and then a lot of very stained stuff as well. So unfortunately, those got left behind. This I had to think about. This is Song of the South. If you get vintage Song of the South, Walt Disney World or Walt Disneyland, I don't know which of the two had the mountain, Smoky Mountain or whatever it was. This can be valuable, and that is because they discontinued that ride due to the fact that if you actually watch this movie, it is very racist. So it's actually Splash Mountain. Sorry, I just remembered what it was. And they closed Splash Mountain down in 2020 because of a petition to change the ride due to the fact that, the original movie is not great. And it does come with a warning if you try to watch it on Disney Plus about, this was a product of its time. It's not a good movie now, which valid. So if you get vintage Splash Mountain or Song of the South t-shirts, those can be very valuable because, again, that doesn't exist anymore. But because of the closure and because of our current media culture as it is, they are making new merch. Drop shippers and people that sell on Amazon, which are drop shippers, are capitalizing on the fact that that ride has closed and are making that, which is what that t-shirt was. It wasn't Disney branded. So that's why I decided to go ahead and pass on it due to the fact that it wasn't Disney branded. It was just something that somebody printed. And so that went away. Also, it didn't have any tags in it, so I didn't know what size it was. And I was just like, you know what? No. It is not, $100 plus t-shirt, so I'm just not going to deal with it. I don't need that in my life. A lot of Fashion Nova and Shein in here. Here's another, I think that's a jacket, but it felt like plastic. It was not cute. This is just a green basic, and this is me. It's blacked out because I literally covered the camera because I was trying to see if it would fit me because it's green. And you know how I feel about green. I was hoping this was Johnny Was, but of course it's not. It's Umgee. But I thought it was cute, and I had luck in the past selling Umgee stuff, especially here at the bins, but I just decided to go ahead and pass on it. This, I feel like this was Ralph Lauren, but I wasn't 100% sure. All the tags were cut out of it. That just says dry clean only. But there are literally 3 brands that have the little dude bro on a horse, the Polo Rider, because, of trademark infringement. And because it didn't have Polo Ralph Lauren in it, or it didn't have Ralph Lauren in it, I just decided, okay, you know what? I can't justify that this is exactly that, but it was a cute top, and if it did have the tags in it, and it was Ralph Lauren, I would have picked it up. A lot of, vintage suits, like 1-piece or 2-piece, in here as well. This is a pair of fast fashion green pants, which again, I looked at a little too long because it's green. This is a pair of shorts, but they're kid shorts, and I think it was like Hot Kiss little Gap white t-shirt that was no longer white in certain areas. So this is a wool jacket, wool blazer. It is a 2-button blazer, so I thought about it, but it did have some stains that I would have had to have worked on in addition to it not being a good brand. It's Anderson Little. It didn't still have the size tag in it as well, which is normally on one of the inside pockets to tell you what size it is. And I also would have had to have re-sewn the lining. So at that point, it was too many projects, and I have too many projects as it is. So I left that behind. That had too much stains on it. It was a reversible North Carolina shirt. This is me checking to see if it is reversible. That wasn't me trying to see if I could wear it. This is a J. Crew, and if this had the material tag in it, I would have picked it up. But this was a weird texture. I have never felt this texture before. It also needed to be restitched together there, which I have the ability to do that. But because I couldn't tell what fabric it was, I did leave that behind. It did have the size tag in it. It just didn't have the actual material tag in it. Just a little black t-shirt there, so that went to the side. This is O'Neill. It's a little knit tank top. You can very much see through it. This is just supposed to be a beach cover-up. It's very cute. I'm just double checking that there's no stains on it and there aren't any sizable pulls, because this is more of an open knit mesh type fabric, which is harder to hide pulls or to repair pulls on that, or at least it is for me. So I'll put that to the side. This is me trying to figure out what this is. It obviously wasn't good because I threw it away. I didn't throw it away, I just threw it to the side. This I also considered getting, but it was, as you can tell, hopefully at some point you'll see it, it was horribly stained around the neck and on the cuffs. But this is a very heavy duty cotton knit sweater, and I can't remember the brand, but it was a brand I would have normally picked up if it wasn't for the fact I honestly couldn't tell if it was like brown from dirt or brown from bleaching, because it was like a blue-black sweater. I have a hard time with dark colors, so unless I get it under like really good lights, I have a hard time telling the difference between navy and black sometimes. So I couldn't tell if it was dirt, which I could get out, or if it was bleaching, which unfortunately I can't. And depending on your body chemistry is whether or not you will bleach something or you will yellow or brown something. I bleach stuff. You don't. Why am I telling you that? And my partner, though, he does the yellowing. So it's just our body chemistries are completely different. And that's how human bodies are fun. Again, sometimes I don't know what to talk about on here when I'm doing these voiceovers, and I just overshare. So hopefully you guys are down for that. This is a vintage pair of pants. They are tattery. That would have been quite the sewing project. It would have been great to pick up for fabric just because it was like a vintage velvet type of fabric. But I did leave that behind. This was a print-on-demand t-shirt. It says Dark Side with like the Force Lightning and the saber. It was TeePublic, which they print a lot of nerdy t-shirts, and some of them do really well. But I set that aside. If you find another nerdy printer that can be valuable is Jinx. If you find Jinx t-shirts, those can do well. This is a David Bowie t-shirt. This one in my cart for sure. It's a men's size medium. I was hoping it was a small because then I could keep it, but it's a medium, so it is going to go up for sale. I really love David Bowie music. I have, I think, about 8 or 9 of his CDs. I have never found any of his records out in the wild, or I probably would keep them, especially if I found like the Ziggy Stardust era records, because those are absolutely beautiful. Not only the music, but just in general. This is Miller Lite, which is a choice people make when they go out and want a beer. And that also had stains on it, so I left it behind. This is Lucy. It's a capri length, so that went to the side. Universal Thread. A lot of Target was in here as well. Unfortunately, no new Target. New with tags Target I will pick up definitely at the bins, and even some not new with tags Target if I really like the style. Knox Rose I normally will pick up. I didn't realize that they recently, Knox Rose, changed their tag, which looks a lot different now than I was expecting. It actually looks, their new tag looks older. This is a Maleficent t-shirt. I don't think I've been in a Target in probably a year, honestly. I don't really shop at the big box stores, but that's just because there are too many people in them and I don't want to go. Which is funny because I'm literally at the bins right now. So I thought about getting that because of the whole mob wife vibe, but I've bought a couple of mob wife pieces so far and they haven't sold yet. So I feel like maybe that was just like a TikTok trend for people to like show, but not actually people to wear out in real life. Who knows? I always watch when I go places where there are, under 25s. And so far I have seen crop tops and light wash denim. And like baggy t-shirts and bike shorts. Haven't seen a whole lot of mob wife. There is a tag here, so I'm pulling this out. This is Alfred Dunner. Alfred Dunner. I've mentioned Dunner Stunners here on YouTube before. This is a size small. I'm picking this up because it's new with tags, and I have had good luck selling new with tags Alfred Dunner. I've also had great luck selling vintage Alfred Dunner. Again, it's a style-based pickup. I know we're going out of sweater season, but speaking of style-based pickup, this is a vintage piece from Christopher Banks, which is a brand I really don't pick up. But because this is made in the USA and because this is a 90s piece, I set it to the side and then I'm like, you know what? No, I think about it for a while and I go ahead and actually pick it back up and throw it in my cart. This is me doing that now because I'm like, it's so dry here today as far as finding good stuff. I was like, you know what? I can sell this. I'll put that on Karen. She'll sell it. It'll look great. A pair of, fast fashion pants. But as I mentioned, it was a little dry here today. My cart is only like a third of the way full of books, which the fact that it's so dry here is giving me anxiety, like this shirt. But I do end up finding a few more things after I leave this bin. Once I leave this bin and go on to a new bin, I did find a few more things, but Other Bob is going to show you the haul and what I was able to eke out of this very dry day here at the bins. Welcome to the haul, y'all. I'm going to show you all the clothes that I picked up at the bins, save one Nike shirt because that is in my mom's size, so I have set that aside for her to try on and see if she wants it. If she keeps it, then she keeps it. If she doesn't keep it, then I will, of course, resell it. But I don't know what's been going on the last couple of times, but it has been a very sparse. I mean, the books have been okay, and that's honestly what has saved the last couple of bins trips. But the actual, clothing has been a little meh. But I was able to eke out a few pieces that I'm excited about after, I turned the camera off, which seems to be how it works the last couple of times. So let me go ahead and show you. The first item is actually a Von Furstenberg item. This is vintage from the 70s. It is, where is it? Von Furstenberg. This is the Prince Egon collection. So this is from the 70s, and I picked this up because it is a 2-button blazer in this light gray color. I have seen several TikToks recently of dudes talking about why aren't you going to the thrift store to pick up this vintage fire. So I'm hoping that this will do well. It's made in Yugoslavia. That's why I looked at it to see what it was. But the pockets are still stitched closed, so I'm not sure this person ever really wore this. I did wash this, by the way, and you might be like, oh, yes. Wool and silk can be washed, but unless you know how to do that, I wouldn't recommend it. But obviously it looks great. It was just a little bit dirty around the cuffs and of course around the collar. So I knew that if I took it to a dry cleaner, one, that's incurring an additional $10 to $12 cost. And two, I've actually taken stuff to the dry cleaners before that have that kind of yellowing and they can't get it out dry cleaning. So because it's from the bins, I feel like I could wash it, and then if I mess it up, it's, you know, $2 versus taking it to the dry cleaners and them like not even doing what they're supposed to do. But this will be up for sale, just like all the clothes I'm showing you will be up for sale on Whatnot. I do a Whatnot every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. Hopefully Editing Bob has put the little thing over here. And let me show you the rest. So we have Alfred Dunner. I picked this up because it's new with tags. Here is the tag. It's got all these beads on it. Now it is a women's size small, and I did look real hard to make sure all the beads were there, and they are. And this is cotton and acrylic. And again, the only reason I picked this up is because it was dry. It was dry there at the bins. And I have had good luck selling these more mature brands, not only vintage, but also modern, especially new with tags. The other new with tag item I picked up is it's an odd choice for me. It is a men's size medium. It's Blue 84, which is the brand, but this is also new with tags, and it's just a long sleeve t-shirt that says something about Pennsylvania. Seven Springs, Pennsylvania. I don't know. I knew maybe this wouldn't sell on Whatnot, but again, if it's new with tags and it's like a touristy thing, I've seen that I will be able to sell this for like at least 10 bucks. That's what I've had luck with. Again, and not everybody's business is the same. This I picked up because it's vintage. I only pick up vintage Nautica unless it's new with tags, especially at the bins. But this is a cotton, lightweight cotton sweater. It is a V-neck. This is like my favorite type of cotton, by the way. I love this like waffle weave or this thermal weave. I don't know, but it is a men's cotton sweater. This is a men's size large. It is made in Hong Kong, so it's vintage from the 90s. Again, I don't necessarily recommend you pick it up, but I've had good luck selling vintage Nautica, especially if it is either a good basic or very loud. It has to be one of those two things. You might laugh that I picked this up, but I've also had really good luck selling surf brands that are normally sold at like Zoomies or PacSun, because these are actually, first of all, I wore a lot of this. If it wasn't for the fact that I've pretty much just thrift all my clothes now, I would probably still wear all this. But this stuff is like expensive brand new. Like this little tank top was probably $60 brand new. It is O'Neill. So whenever I find PacSun brands like O'Neill or Billabong or Quicksilver or something like that and they're in good condition, I will pick them up, especially at the bins, and this weighs almost nothing. It's a cute little like beach cover up. It is a women's size large, and it's, you know, pink and striped and got little fringe. Very, very summery, and hopefully we are almost in summer. So I picked this up. This is another vintage piece. This is 100% acrylic, and it's made in the USA. The brand is Lee Apparel. I picked this up because it is a cable knit sweater, and it's interesting. Like, I really liked the shape of this. It's not like straight. It like flows out. I think this is supposed to be a tunic length sweater, actually, now that I'm holding it up. I feel like this is supposed to be a tunic length sweater because it flares out like it's a dress. But I'm 5'9", so it definitely would not be a dress for me, because like this is where it ends and this is where my butt is. So, you know, if you were my friend Donna, who's 5 foot something, you know, it probably would be pretty close to being a mini dress. But this is a women's size medium. It just felt soft, and then it has like the ribbed knit sleeves and then the cable knit in the front. I just thought it was neat. This I found after, of course, I turned the camera off. This is kids. I don't pick up a whole lot of kids, but this is Columbia, and it is a kid-size medium snow bib in this bright fluorescent pink color. And I was looking at comps on this just to see if it was worth picking up again, because I don't sell a whole lot of kids. And these were selling like 20 to 30 bucks. So that's great. And these are in amazing condition. They don't really have a whole lot. They don't have any like really wear on them. They're all clean now. So I thought that was awesome. I did check to make sure I could put it in the wash before I picked it up, because I was like, I want to be able to make sure I don't mess it up. Because sometimes like bright colors like that, if you're not supposed to wash them, the colors will run, and I wanted to make sure it wouldn't like ruin anything else I put in the wash with it, but it is supposed to be washed, so we were good. This is another vintage piece. You guys saw me hem and haw over this in the shopping portion because it's Christopher Banks. But this is like peak 90s. It is a 3/4 sleeve, and it's like got that baby doll up here at the top, and then like it flares out at the bottom. This is like very 90s. And I know it's very 90s because it's made in the USA. So this is vintage Christopher Banks, made in the 90s. Little sweater top. I know we're getting out of the season, but don't care. It's still cold in places. Like today it's 70 degrees, which is why you see me in no sleeves, and tomorrow it's going to be 40. Yay. I found the mountain. I have never found the mountain as a shirt before. I know it's like a thing that all the Gen Z and Alpha people want to wear. And then, you know, of course, millennials too, because the vintage t-shirt thing is super big. This is a men's size 4X. It is the Eagle. And this is not vintage. This is from 2014. Because thankfully almost every single of the mountain shirt has a date on the graphic. So this says 2014 Dimitar Neshev. But I figured it's the mountain. It's got the Eagle. It's a 4X. It will definitely sell at some point. So yeah, I figured if it doesn't sell on Whatnot, it'll definitely sell on eBay. This is, same thing, David Bowie. David Bowie and Robin Williams are the two people that died, that passed away, and I cried because they were so integral to me as a human growing up. But this is from his Ziggy Stardust era. This is Aladdin stain. It's Aladdin, like, you know, Aladdin and then sane. And if you did not know, David Bowie's English, so it's supposed to, it's a name, but when you say it fast, it's Alad insane. Because he's a lad who's insane. Why am I explaining that to you? Anyway, it's David Bowie t-shirt. This is a men's size medium. I don't know why I felt necessary to explain that to you. This I did have to look it up just to see if there was sales history. This is a vintage from the 70s, like older girl top. Because I saw the Girl Scout pattern. And so this is a girl's size 16, which actually would fit a women's size small, I think. I remember getting girls' clothes when I was... Yeah, see, like, this almost fits me. I am definitely not a girl size 16, but I am women's size medium, and I could close this. Do I feel like if I moved my arms too much, I would hulk out of this? Absolutely, but it does fit me, so... And it is from the 70s. I'm trying to get it off without like tearing it. But I did see that these were selling for like $15 to $20, so I picked it up. I never got to be a Girl Scout. I'm still slightly salty about that. This is Oakley, and this is women's Oakley. This is a pair of women's Oakley board shorts in this longer length. I picked this up because why not? Again, I talked about I love buying and selling surfwear brands. I know Oakley was originally a glass brand, a glasses brand, until Luxottica bought them out. And this is from spring '07. I did not know that. Oh well, I can just say Y2K aught style and it'll sell. It's almost vintage. God, that makes me feel so old. Jeez. Alright, this is a cool piece. I pick up cool whenever I see it. It does need a little bit of sweater shaving. I think it's just lint though. Actually, no, it just needs to be lint rolled. This is a women's size extra large, just a t-shirt. Just a basic cool t-shirt. Here's a little mountain. Which side is the mountain on? Here's a little cool. I saw this little thing and I was like, yeah, I found cool at the bins. Awesome, because this has been so dry. I'm so grateful for this. I also pick up vintage aprons whenever I find them and they're in good shape. I did find another one of these vintage aprons, but unfortunately it was horribly stained. It looked like somebody just made a chocolate cake and got more cake on them than in the pan. We're gonna hope it's chocolate cake anyway. But this is a half apron. It's pretty long actually, and I'm guessing based on the color and the type of material that this is probably from the late 70s, early 80s. It does have a little hole here in the front, but I'm going to weave that together instead of stitch it up and patch that. So that'll be cool. I'm going to put this over here so I can make sure I do that. We have another t-shirt. This needs some sweater shaving for sure. This is Demon Slayer. It's a men's size large. I am a giant nerd. I really like this anime. So as soon as I saw this, I definitely had to pick it up. Super excited about that. This is another thing I hemmed and hawed about. I know like 5 years ago when I first started reselling, I would absolutely like geek out if I found this at the bins. But I did end up picking it up. I know everybody's like, skinny is out, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. This is Madewell. It is the high-rise skinny, and it is a 24 short. So it has a short inseam. They're skinnies. They have the raw hem. I figured I'd give these a try. It's at the bins. It's like, look how tiny this is. This is nothing. I don't even think this weighs a pound. So I'm gonna put these up and see what happens. I also found a pair of vintage Old Navies. These are Y2K. This has like the paper tag. And this is a size 14 women's, and they do have, I think these are boot cut based on the bottom. They're not technically a flare, but they are boot cut. I did check to make sure that the chub rub wasn't too bad. Thick thighs to save lives, but they do also destroy jeans. So I checked that. These don't have any stains on them, which is great. And these are straight cotton, so there's no stretch to these. So I do also like make sure I put 100% cotton somewhere in there in the listing, because there are people that only want straight cotton and there are some people that like need the stretch or want the stretch. So there is that. And then I got so excited when I found this. Again, this is one of those reasons why I literally pick up every single piece of clothing, and then I also turn stuff inside out. Like I check inside to see what the print is, because some people won't do that at the bins. And that is how I found a Carhartt pocket tee. This is a men's size medium, but it is a loose fit men's size medium. So this is in great shape. Like this honestly would fit a large easily and comfortably. But I found Carhartt at the bins because this was inside out and nobody wanted to. It was like inside out and folded. So like even if it was inside out, you would have seen this, but because it was like folded in half and inside out, I guess nobody just wanted to look at it that hard. But I did. So Carhartt loose fit medium, so at least I got a definite win out of that. I mean, technically I would be able to sell all these things, which is why I pick it up, because this is stuff I would happily list at the bins. I'm gonna go weave this back together, and hopefully I will see you guys at Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If not, I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, bye! Hero, hero. I wanna be a hero, hero.